Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Greg Olmer with Peak Performance Ideas, and I'd like to welcome you to our webinar, Project Financial Planning in Oracle EPBCS. Today's webinar will be presented by Batul Sayed. Batul is a cloud EPM analyst and is actively involved in building customized Oracle planning and budgeting cloud service solutions for our clients. She has worked on all aspects of implementation, from design to development and administration for clients from a range of industries. She is a certified specialist in Hyperion Planning and PBCS and is Dale Carnegie certified. Batul, welcome and thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Greg. So for today's agenda, we're going to be discussing and demonstrating the project planning module and its capabilities in Oracle's Enterprise Planning and Budgeting Cloud Service. We'll first go over what Oracle EPBCS is and then move directly into the Project Financial Planning module. We'll then do a demonstration to show how this product can meet your company's needs. So beginning with EPBCS as a whole, this is a comprehensive tool that allows for best practice planning straight out of the box. It provides modeling and scalability, allowing planning at all levels, while still remaining useful for the end user and providing powerful data analytics. As you can see here, Projects is one of the modules available with EPBCS, along with Financials and Strategic Modeling, Workforce, and Capital. Now, to begin our discussion of the Projects module, I'm first going to start with the way the module integrates with the three other modules, which is a unique aspect of it. And we're starting this way so that once we go through the rest of the module on its own, you can kind of keep in mind the ways that this module flows into the others. You'll see, we won't go into much detail, but for the Financials module, you'll be able to see your financial data, for example, balance sheet and cash flow information from projects in Financials. And in Workforce, you'll be able to see the utilization of employees across projects. You'll also be able to integrate the other way from Workforce to projects by reassigning employees and things of that nature. And then for Capital, you can see your project assets capitalized, and we'll discuss that further in a few slides. But to go back into projects on its own, the first thing that we kind of ask ourselves is why even use project planning, how it's needed, why it's needed, and how it can benefit our organization. There's a few different ways we can answer that, and some of those are here on the slide. The first thing that I want to touch on is that all organizations, regardless really of size or industry, are involved in some sort of projects, whether those be internal projects or revenue-generating projects. And the Projects module allows users to plan for a variety of project types efficiently with quick deployment and very little training prior to use, making it accessible for people all across your organization. The project planning process includes 4 components. There's the project summary, expense, revenue, and analysis, covering together the entire life cycle of a project. Now, the expense and revenue pieces provide options for driver-based modeling and have both high-level and very detailed planning, and then the project summary and analysis parts allow for more simplified management of a project. So kind of available for all different types of users. Those who are going to be putting in information can use the expense and revenue pieces, and then higher level management can take a look at projects from a higher level through the summary or analysis parts. Now, like I said, the Projects module allows for planning across a variety of industries. This is done by providing 3 different project types, all suited towards different needs. And these are the 3 types. We have the indirect or internal projects, the indirect referring to indirect revenue, and then we have the contract projects and the capital projects. So the indirect projects are the projects that we're all familiar with and that we're all participating in. These are anything from marketing campaigns, research and design, or implementation of a new IT tool. Then we have contract projects, which are kind of what we would assume, projects that are directly creating revenue and are our company providing a service or product for another, and capital projects are for the buying and selling of new capital. each of these project types will follow the flow that we just covered, those 4 different tiles that we just discussed. Contract projects you'll see will be the only type that will include revenue, and you'll see that more clearly in the upcoming demo. Here we're going to discuss the indirect and capital projects, and then for our demonstration we'll follow the whole cycle through the capital projects. But beginning with the indirect projects, you can see on the left, this is a screenshot of the application, and this is a dashboard that you'll see. A dashboard is referring to these different graphs that are put together. You'll see this for each of your different project types, a high-level overview for each. Now, for these projects, because they're indirect and there's no revenue coming directly from them, we want to be able to see how these projects are benefiting our organization. And the module allows users to both financially and non-financially justify these projects using the benefits pages. So here we can see we can add financial benefits. For example, if we have a new internal project like creating a new website, our services revenue is going to go up through digital leads. We can put that information in here as a financial benefit. We can also, though, put in non-financial benefits. Now, this is a great addition. If for anyone who's familiar with the on-premise project financial planning, this is not included, and it is included here. This gives organizations another way to determine benefits, aside from those that are just financial. The way this is set up out of the box allows for qualitative benefits to be entered with corresponding quantitative measures. So on the right, we're putting in our qualitative benefits, for example, better customer experience with the new user interface of the new website. And quantitatively, we're measuring that through your customer satisfaction index going. So this is a really nice feature that's allowed in the indirect projects. For the capital projects, these again are focused on companies that make heavy capital investment. We can see the integration provided out of the box really well. The details that we enter around capital, for example, a machine or a piece of equipment here, can be capitalized and then seen in the capitals module. So here we're looking in the projects module, we've added in a piece of machinery, and now we go into the capital module, and under investments, we can see the same assets from our projects. And this integration really allows for more seamless planning across departments and in different areas of our organization. So now we'll get into our demonstration and go over a contract project. We're going to begin here at the home page of EPBCS. For those who haven't seen it before, this is what it looks like. It's very user-friendly, kind of modeled off of user interfaces that we're more familiar with our iPhones and iPads, kind of having these different tiles that guide us through different parts of our application. You'll see at the top here are the 4 different modules, or the 5 different modules that you can see, and then by clicking into any one of them, we'll see the associated cards. Now, cards or tiles are referring to each of these tile-shaped pieces that you see here. So here are the 4 different parts of projects like we saw earlier, and we'll begin here by clicking into Project Summary. Now, once you get into Project Summary, you'll see this format. You'll see these different vertical tiles tabs on the side, and these go into each of our different project types. So here we're on the contract projects. There's similarly the same things like we saw earlier for the other 2 project types. And then we have horizontal tabs across the top for an overview page like this, which provides high-level graphs and information on a specific project that you're looking at in the contracts category. Then we also have the variance tab. Here we're able to similarly see different graphs, and these are all surrounding variances of our project, so actual versus plan expenses, billable versus non-billable, hours, things of those nature. And these are all set up out of the box, so once our information is put in, these graphs will be generated, and you'll be able to see them here. Across the top, you'll also see the Earned Value Management tab, which looks similar to this, and then we have the Project Details tab. Again, this tab is available for each of your different project types, which is the way that the module is organized. So here are our project details for all of our different contract projects. We can see the project names, when they're starting and ending, how revenue is recognized, all sorts of details here. And to add a project, we can do that in 2 ways. we can either click on the Actions menu and select Add Project, or alternatively, we can click on any empty cell, right-click, and then click Add Project. And here's where we'll see how user-friendly this is. We're guided through the process of adding a project with these prompts. Very simply, we can see what information we need to enter. Here we're entering in our project name and when it's starting, and then we're guided through with the next and putting in the extra information that we need to, and then we can launch our project and see that our project was successfully added as a contract project into our application. Now that we've added a project, we'll move on to the expense card. Here, again, you'll see vertical tabs and an overview page. The overview page is going to be standard across these cards. For each of these, you'll see an overview with associated graphs for each of your projects. And then from our vertical tabs, we'll be able to enter expenses in two different ways. We'll also see this for revenue. For our expenses, we can enter either through assumptions and standard rates, which is that driver-based modeling that we discussed, or through direct entry. Starting with our driver-based models, we can enter expenses through three broad categories. So they're labor, material, and equipment. Each of those can be accessed through the horizontal tabs up at the top. And we put in information very similarly to how we're putting in information for adding a project. So through the Actions menu or through right-clicking. And then we're kind of guided through the projects here with adding phases. We have options, putting in our employees. Our employees here, again, we'll see in our workforce module, going back to that integration. But this is how we'll enter in our expenses this way. We also have an Other tab for any expenses that aren't covered by the three main categories. And these are all driven by assumptions that have been previously entered. So, we can put in our standard rates for our material. We can also put in for our labor, hourly costs of our labor on-site or off-site, how much they cost. We can put all of those details in here, and then they will be calculated for us in the page that we just saw. We can also enter our expenses in through direct entry. So this is not using the driver-based models, but instead just putting things in directly. We can put them in by category or put them in as other, enter them in here, and our expenses will calculate when we save this page. The last tab that we have here is a total tab, an analysis tab. Here we'll see our total project expenses. These are flowing in from all the different areas that we've just entered, and once we've saved all of those, the information moves here. And we could see, for example, some of the things that come out of the box, the red for negative, that's something that comes straight out, and we have that functionality here. Now we can also really quickly, I want to kind of pop out of this page and take a look at the same total expenses sheet in Excel. So a lot of us were very comfortable with Excel, especially our finance folks that we have on. And this module and EPBCS as a whole integrates really seamlessly with Excel through SmartView. So you can see the exact same form that we were just looking at is available here in Excel. On the right-hand side, you can see all of the different forms that are available for projects. We could also look at forms for the different modules as well and access all of our information here. So this is available. I wanted to quickly show this. But jumping back now onto the web, moving to the revenue card, we'll see the same format and setup as the expenses card. So starting off, we'll see all of our kind of high-level graphs on revenue in our overview page, and then we have the same sort of ways to enter revenue. We can either use the driver-based modeling using assumptions that we've entered, or we can directly enter revenue. With our revenue assumptions, we can look at revenue in a few different ways. This, for example, is the cost plus perspective. We can also look at a what-if perspective if we wanted. And here, again, assumptions are put in by category. We can look at our specific projects and then see our revenue here, and we also have a graph. And any of these dashboards can be customized. So for example, here, if we rather didn't have a graph or wanted a different graph, we could customize our dashboards and include that information. But the calculations and all of those things will happen automatically out of the box. Here we're looking at our total project revenue, so back to those analysis pages that we were looking at with expenses. We can look at our revenue just at a high level, our contract revenue. We can also look at profitability. This will calculate our profitability without having to do anything extra, so all of our expenses will come over from our expense card, everything we entered there. We'll enter in here, and then our revenue will come in from what we just entered in our revenue, and we'll see things calculate this way. What you'll see here is you'll see total revenue and total expenses, just at a high level. Now let's say we wanted to see our expenses more detailed, where our expenses coming from. We click in, and now we'll see our indirect and our direct expenses, giving us kind of a better idea of where money is going or where we're spending. We can click in again to indirect expenses and see our overheads and our general and administrative expenses. And then we can keep clicking in and seeing all the way at the bottom level where we're spending. We can do the same thing for revenue. But this is nice because whenever you enter in expenses into different categories, they'll automatically be brought to this form. So you don't have to do anything extra. As long as you're entering things in your other forms, all of that information will come here. We'll also have a cash flow that we can see for our projects from a high level. Again, we can see the different sources of cash and uses of cash. And this is an example of where we would see integration with the financials module. So like I had mentioned at the beginning, we would see cash flow and balance sheet data in our financials module. It would be coming from here. The same information that you see here would then be in your cash flow statement in your financials module, and you'd be able to see the section for projects specifically from a high level. Now we're moving to the analysis card, which is the last card that we have here in our module. This is beginning again with an overview piece, a little different from the others, which were showing just one project. This is showing projects across entities. So for example, all of our manufacturing U.S. projects are shown here. We can see from a high level our expenses, our profitability, all of those sorts of things. And this is why this analysis card is very helpful for management. If they want to come in and take a quick look at how their projects are doing across their different departments, that can be done here. And these graphs can also be drilled into to look at more specific data. We also have, like we had seen in the revenue and in the expense pieces, we have detailed analysis here. This will give us a look at our projects in a more detailed fashion, displaying data, kind of at a more higher level. So for example, the cost plus projects that we can see at a total, and then we can also see them broken down by project exactly. So we can take a look at those different things. And again, whenever we add projects in, like we did from our first project summary card and the project details, those projects will be added here, and we can take a look at them in this way. Now, another really nice feature that's available out of the box with the projects module is a rolling forecast. This enables users to see profitability, cash flow, revenue, and total expenses over time with no extra configuration or calculation. You can see here that we have a rolling forecast of our profitability, and in the same way that we did in our other profitability form, we can look at expenses and revenue, break them down, and see exactly how things are going to go over the next months or years. Again, we have the total project expenses, similar to what we saw earlier, but this version is the rolling forecast, so giving us that functionality. And then lastly, in the analysis card, we have some more dashboards. So here we see program KPIs and program performance through these interactive dashboards. Again, we can customize these if there's different things that we'd like to see. If we don't want to see our return on investment and we'd rather see something else, we can put that in here. So we can do a lot with these dashboards, but we're able, if these are things that we all like to see straight out of the box, we can keep them this way, and so that functionality is great. So that concludes really the process of the project planning module. After going through all of these 4 different cards in the process as a whole, we can really see how EPBCS's projects modules out-of-the-box functionality, along with the customization that's allows companies across industry and size the ability to plan more efficiently and effectively for all different project types. So that'll conclude my presentation for today. Thank you everyone for your time and attention, and Greg, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Ms. Long. And thank you all for joining us today for our webinar, Project Financial Planning in Oracle EPBCS. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. The tools and my contact information are displayed on your screen. Thank you again, and have a great day.